CTV News with Kelly Gregg.
Good evening. 12 years after studies started, the Quebec government has moved on to the next step of rebuilding Lachine's Saint-Pierre Interchange. Transport Quebec says it will be an elevated structure, adding the goal is to help open up the Saint-Pierre neighborhood. Public consultations and an environmental assessment will take place. The project will also include new provisions for active and public transit. The interchange was inaugurated in 1966 at the junction of Highway 20 and Route 138 near the Mercier Bridge. There was no date given for construction except to say it will take place in the coming years. A truck driver is being called out after reversing on Highway 20 into oncoming traffic. This video, taken from a traffic camera, was posted online. It happened in Saint-Mathieu-de-Belleuil. The truck misses the exit for a way station and backs up in the right lane. You can see cars avoiding the truck and another stopping to put on their hazards. The union representing road controllers says on top of the dangerous maneuver, the truck was also carrying refrigerated liquid carbon dioxide.
That kind of comportment is very, very dangerous for all the people, not just for a trucker. Even if you are inside your personal car, it was very dangerous. In this case, we are lucky that we don't have any accident on this place.
The driver faces a fine of $1,600 for demerit points and had their license suspended for 1 week. A cargo ship has been freed after it ran aground in the St. Lawrence near Contrecoeur nearly a month ago. The Onigo Otra lost its steering and ran aground on June 30. It was carrying metal components, and since then, privately hired vessels have unloaded some of the cargo to lighten the load. It was successfully refloated yesterday.
The ship hired a salvage master and a salvage company to ensure that all the operation could be conducted. So they mobilized the barges, they mobilized the different equipment that was required to remove the cargo from the ship, to lighten the ship, and then mobilize the different tugs that was required to pull the ship after the cargo has been removed.
The vessel was escorted up the St. Lawrence, where it will continue in its journey to New Orleans. Alto is conducting drone surveys in several communities to study the potential high-speed rail route between Ottawa and Montreal. The drones will start in an area southeast of Ottawa. The plan is to eventually run high-speed trains between Toronto and Quebec City with several stops along the way. The first phase of the project will be built between Ottawa and Montreal. The SQ has given an update in its search for the suspect in a murder of a teenager in Shawinigan. 41-year-old Philippe Benoit is now considered a suspect and no longer a person of interest. He's possibly armed and dangerous. The body of a teenage boy was found in a home in Shawinigan yesterday. The car allegedly driven by the suspect was found later in a suburban campground. Following a deadly attack at Berlin's Pride celebrations, organizers of Montreal's festival have decided to take extra precautions. More fences and concrete barriers are being installed, and there will be metal detectors at the Olympic Park. On St. Catherine Street, the village is already pedestrian only. A Pride organizer says about $600,000 have been spent on security.
We work in very close collaboration with all the public services, Sûreté du Québec, Service de Police of Montreal, but also Montreal Fire Department and Montreal Services. We hold regular coordination meetings. We have some emergency response plans. We have some plans we developed in the past few years and submitted to the appropriate authorities. We have a clear chain of command.
Vérité Montréal begins Friday and ends on August 9th with the Pride Parade. There was another stabbing in Montreal, the fourth in the past 48 hours. It happened in Côte-des-Neiges. Police were called to Van Horn near Victoria just after 10:30 last night. It's believed two people got into a fight. The victim is a 53-year-old man and a 47-year-old man is in custody. Tickets are being issued in Montreal for safety, not on the roads, but on the water. Christine Long explains.
At KSF in LaSalle, they rent surfboards, paddleboards, and kayaks. Every rental goes out with the proper safety equipment, says Simon Vallet, who is a coach there.
I have a life jacket and a whistle on it, so I can use it if I need.
You need to have a whistle.
Sunday in Lachine, James Seeney watched as police were ticketing paddleboarders who were not following the rules.
Yesterday I saw a number of police boats bringing the water paddleboarders back with no life jacket or no whistle.
His social media post about what he saw collected lots of comments.
We had about 250 comments.
250. That's also the number of dollars those boarders could owe for their infractions, says Reynald Hawkins.
When you have to receive a bill of $250 because you don't have your whistle, you think your price is very high.
The whistle is mandatory, so you can call for help.
If I need help or just bring some attention on me, I can whistle 1 time for the attention, and if I really need help, 3 times.
Seeley says he saw some sunken faces on Sunday.
Some of them were very discouraged to have known that they have to pay such a fine. And it's a lot of money for the average person.
Hawkins adds, it's not enough to have your life vest strapped to your board. Have it on your body.
Where you're going and see what kind of current you have over there. And for sure, you need to wear your personal flotation device all the time.
He says summer outings on the water are better without any drama. Christine Long, CTV News.
Doctors in Montreal say they're seeing a spike in eating disorders among young people. It's a common problem during the summer months. Sweeta Rassi has that story.
Summer is the season many look forward to, but for some, it's the hardest time of the year. Dialogue, a Montreal-based virtual healthcare provider, is seeing a 57% jump in consultations for eating disorders.
It's a problem that is seen most often in the summer.
Dr. Mark Robbins says changes in routine, a lack of school support, and the pressure of having a beach body explain the rise.
This is cyclical. It is a seasonal variation that we observe.
The numbers are even worse for young people. Consultations are up 73% for people aged 17 to 25. Lise André-Massé at Anorexia and Bulimia Quebec says nearly 300,000 people in the province live with an eating disorder.
We know that the first sign can start at 4 years old.
She says eating disorders can affect anyone. Men, she says, are often more pressured to look muscular, whereas women feel the need to look thin, especially on social media. Last summer, the hashtag Skinny Talk was banned on TikTok because it encouraged eating disorder behaviors.
We reach out to TikTok and say that it's something that should be banned.
Now, if you type Skinny Talk, what comes up are helplines, including one from Anorexia and Bulimia Quebec. But the problem doesn't just go away.
But they reinvent themselves. So the fact that this is there, it's concerning.
Eating disorders are complex and in some cases deadly. And with summer in full swing, experts say reaching out for help is crucial. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
Anorexia and Bulimia Quebec has a help and referral line. It is free and confidential. In Montreal, it's 514-630-0907. And outside Montreal, it's toll-free 1-800-630-0907. There is confirmation that 2 tornadoes touched down during last weekend's storm in the Laurentians. In addition to one in the Harrington area, this one hit in Saint-Donat. Wind speeds were estimated at 115 kilometers per hour. There was no reported injuries, but there was damage to trees near Lac Beauchamp.
The first one in Harrington was a fairly wide tornado for an EF1, about just over a kilometer at its widest, and about 15 kilometers long. This one was much shorter, much more narrow, so less than a kilometer and about 100 meters wide. So it was the same storm that produced the 2 tornadoes. It was the Saint-Donat was about an hour later and about 50 kilometers to the northeast. So yeah, sometimes these storms, these supercell storms, the ones with rotation that you can see on radar, they can actually produce multiple tornadoes as they have a long lifetime.
Quebec sporting goods store Lacardi has filed for creditor protection again. According to Bankruptcy Canada documents, the company carries more than $17 million in debt. Lacardi last sought bankruptcy protection in 2020 and underwent restructuring. It was founded in 1953 and operates 5 stores in Quebec. Laval's Leila Fernandez has advanced as she looks to defend her title at the DC Open. She beat Poland's Magda Linette in straight sets today, 6-1, 6-4. The match included 2 aces, and Fernandez converted on 5 out of 9 break points. She captured the title last year, and it was one of her biggest wins of her career. Today, she said it was an honor to see her name in the winner's circle.
Walking onto the stadium and seeing my name up there really means a lot. I mean, I see so many great names here who have won the tournament, so it means a lot to see my name up there, and hopefully again this year, but if not, then I'm just going to enjoy my time here and keep improving.
Fernandez moves on to the round of 16 on Wednesday. There were 308 goals scored at this year's World Cup, but one of them stood out.
Still having a reasonable share of the game, Cabo Verde, despite falling behind once more. Oh, they've equalised! Sidney Lopez Cabral!
Lopez Cabral's shot into the corner of Argentina's net was chosen as the best goal of the World Cup. That goal tied Argentina at 2-2 in extra time against Cabo Verde. Cabo Verde did lose the match, but the team made a much talked about stellar debut on soccer's biggest stage. After the break, a taste of Montreal in a snack-sized survey. It is a first in Canada. A man from Toronto is on the verge of being declared HIV-free after receiving a combination of a bone marrow transplant and chemotherapy. Dr. Jean-Pierre Routy is an HIV/AIDS specialist with McGill University and joins us from Brazil, where he's speaking at a major conference. Thank you so much for being here. I have to start, even if it takes some very specific circumstances, can you describe what it's like to talk about having a patient be HIV-free?
Well, it's fantastic because you remove the stigma, you remove the need to be treated long term, and then it's a dream. But for now, the transplant is given when you have a cancer or leukemia. It's not a way to treat a regular patient. So we need to learn from these winners getting free from HIV. What can we do to mimic the effect without doing a transplant? Because in best center, mortality remain around 5%. And then you have to take immunosuppressor long term. So it's more toxic than taking HIV medication. So it's fantastic on a personal level because they had the cancer or leukemia that needed to be treated. It's a way to learn, but not to replicate.
That's what I was going to ask. You know, medication can make the virus virtually undetectable, but stop taking the medication and it returns. Bone marrow transplants, not exactly easy, very complicated. How likely is it that this treatment can be used on others?
Well, there is another way that was presented is by CAR T cells. So we take only the stem cell from the blood. We go to the lab, and we send back to the patient, and they prime to attack the tumor. And they can attack HIV as similarly as the tumor. And 3 patients were treated in USA, and 2 of them has not a cure, but the virus rebound at a very low level. So that may replace a bone marrow transplant. It's much less toxic. It's less potent in a cancer patient, but still it can be done in absence of cancer, under research ongoing, and at least 2 out of 3 patients have a low viral load when they stop medication. So it's not a cure, but it's a good step in the good direction.
Well, according to the UN, in 2024, the number of people living with HIV was above 40 million. You know, when news like this happens and it draws attention to the virus, what are some of the next steps in curing it and bringing attention to this virus that has been around for a long time and sometimes falls under the radar compared to other things?
Sure, after 40 years there is less attention, but the epidemic is still growing in southern countries, and wars and armed conflict are not helping, of course. And the difficulty, we have extremely good tool for prevention and also for treatment. The difficulty is to bring this type of therapy to the global population in need for this treatment or prevention, and that's an economical limit, and today we are facing such difficulties.
Well, obviously some obstacles, but obviously encouraging news as well today with that patient that has been virtually declared HIV-free. Dr. Ruzzi, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Brazil. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Well, if it takes you more than a few cups of coffee to get going in the morning, this next story's for you. It turns out the American Heart Association says there might actually be benefits in more Joe. Michael Serapio reports.
Be it steamed, dripped, or just plain black, Canadians love their coffee.
For Brian?
Industry analysts estimate more than 70% of Canadians drink the caffeinated brew at least once a day, others more. But how much should Canadians be drinking before coffee becomes a health risk?
I'm not sure, probably 1 or 2.
I'd say maybe 2, because more than 2 it just sort of gives jitters. Like 3 or 4. I would say that's what I drink every day.
Well, for coffee lovers, some good news from the American Heart Association, which said this past week when it comes to cardiovascular health, up to 5 cups of coffee a day is safe for most adults.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And it's not just safe, it could also be beneficial.
It appears that the risks of things like heart attack, stroke, and diabetes in particular may, if anything, be actually lower among those that consume caffeinated coffee.
That said, what is safe is very individual, based on metabolism, general health, and other factors. And this guideline is only for coffee.
Those data should not be extrapolated to energy drinks.
Health Canada's guidelines are different, saying for adults the maximum daily intake should be no more than 400 milligrams or 4 cups. For women who are pregnant, trying to get pregnant, or breastfeeding, 300 milligrams or 3 cups. Now, the American guideline does not suggest to drink coffee if you don't already, but if you do, you have reason now to justify a 5th cup. Michael Serapio, CTV News, Ottawa.
It's a taste of one of Montreal's best-known restaurants in a potato chip. Olivia O'Malley explains.
This is a good one. I like those.
The chip has Miss Vicky's signature crunch and tastes like a staple Nora Gray dish, something owner Ryan Gray never thought would be possible.
To do a Nora Gray, you know, like flavor of Miss Vicky's chips, I mean, like it was like we had to pinch ourselves.
About a year ago, Miss Vicky's approached the 40-seat foodie destination to be part of its Ristoranti series. 3 new chip flavors created by Italian restaurants across Canada. Nora Gray in Montreal, Pizzeria Battiali in Toronto, and Ask for Luigi in Vancouver.
It was an amazing process, actually. Like really way more in-depth and scientific than you'd expect.
The 15-year-old restaurant's menu changes with each season, but they ended up going with a flavor from a plate they've served since the start. Homemade spicy pepperoncini with freshly baked focaccia.
You know, our focaccia that we do here is like a sourdough focaccia as well, so there's like a tanginess to it, and then you get the heat from the peppers.
Recipe developers and tasters worked with the restaurant to recreate pepperoncini and focaccia in chip form. Gray, a salt and vinegar lover himself, says he had no idea what to expect, but was blown away by the final product, and so were consumers.
There was just like really and truly like a tsunami of attention.
When the flavor was first released last year, Canadians gobbled it up.
They were selling out all over town and all over, like, in other cities also. Like, we were getting messages, people kept trying to get the chips from, like, come here to get the chips.
The chips are back on shelves for a limited time. But if you want the real deal, Nora Gray is open Tuesday to Saturday.
Go great with a glass of orange wine.
Olivia O'Malley, CTV News.
Well, it is almost that time of year. New data shows when it comes to buying school supplies, parents overwhelmingly prefer to go in person to a store and not online to get what they need. CTV's Camille Wilson reports.
Catherine Morin and her granddaughter, soon-to-be fifth grader Amelia, are getting a head start on back-to-school shopping. They have a list.
Probably like some pens, markers, and some pencils and erasers and stuff. Maybe a pencil case.
And a budget.
How about $40? Because it's our first day shopping. And she's got a dad and an aunt and,
and my mom.
Family's big. New data from the Retail Council of Canada shows when it comes to school supplies, parents prefer in-store shopping, 99% of them.
We know that, according to the survey, parents do research digitally and compare online, but physical stores do remain central because families want to see the products. They need to confirm availability.
I like it in store myself so you can see what's out there.
Yeah.
More variety.
For this kind of shopping, nothing beats being able to touch the product.
Definitely in store. We like to test out our product. In store, you get to try it out, see how it feels, backpacks especially, check out the markers. We like to make sure we're getting the good products.
Back to school shopping is a giant business in Canada worth about $4.5 billion. Parents can pay between $600 and $750 a year, including electronics like a computer. The data shows people using digital flyers and online to check reviews and compare prices.
I'll go online and get the inspiration, but then I'll probably go in person as well.
Shoppers choosing to wait for promotions, comparing costs, and finding deals.
Some things might not be in the budget.
Parents are expecting to pay more this year than last year.
I would like to watch prices. They do not care about prices.
There's school shopping, either the tools for the classroom or clothes and stuff like that too.
So how did Catherine and Amelia do with their $40 budget? Closer to $80.
No.
The cost is twice as much as we're aiming for.
Still, they found what they needed. Camille Wilson, CTV News.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
Well, hopefully you took in some sunshine earlier today because we are forecasting some rain. But first, checking in with our almanac, we had our expected high at 29 degrees today, feeling more like 34 with the humidity according to Environment Canada. So that is warmer than our record high of 32.8 for this day. We set that in 1949. We're expecting to hold on to humidex values feeling like they're in that 30-degree range, but again, along with that rain coming into our forecast. So for tonight, holding on to that chance of showers along with a thunderstorm risk. We're forecasting an overnight low of 19 degrees. Things are expected to clear out by tomorrow morning just a little bit. We're forecasting mostly cloudy skies, and the mercury is expected to move up to a high of 27. But again, the afternoon is when we're seeing the bulk of those showers coming in. And according to our futurecast, it could potentially come along with some thunder once again. So we're seeing those clouds coming in, and then close to 6 p.m. is when we start to see these zones of orange and red developing around Greater Montreal. That is, of course, indicative of some heavier rain. So be ready for that. We could potentially get roughly 21 millimeters, and there's more rain to come midweek for Wednesday and Thursday, forecasting roughly 10, possibly another 2 on Thursday. Good news come Friday, though, to end the week. We are looking at a shift over to that mix of sun and cloud that should also kick off the weekend.
Well, the Just for Laughs Festival has wrapped up for another year. There were dozens of free shows, including one by Weird Al Yankovic last night. He performed as part of his Bigger and Weirder tour to a huge crowd at Place des Festivals. That wraps it up for us tonight. For the latest news, you can listen to the Andrew Carter Morning Show tomorrow on CJD 800. And of course, you can always visit our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great evening and take care of each other.